I recently interviewed a lady named Vespa Stamper who was a witch and converted to Christianity. It's a very powerful story. But the night before, I woke up in the middle of the night and couldn't sleep, and I was extremely depressed and oppressed out of nowhere and had no idea what was happening, didn't even connect it to the interview the next day. But it was so suffocating that I woke my wife up and asked her to pray for me, and she did. And the next morning I spoke with Vesper, and we both experienced something very similar, and even after the fact, right? So the point is, I know that when I do an interview like that or like this, it's going to make the demons not thrilled. Right. I can't imagine what it's like being you, who's actually, in the name of Jesus, of course, commanding demons to flee. What kind of spiritual warfare do you undergo, and is it any greater than what the average Catholic undergoes?
Look, I can speak for myself. I can't speak for my colleagues. I have to. I would not say that I'm attacked more than the average person would be, usually, with some exceptions. I did have a case I took on years ago, and that case is ongoing. So an exorcism can last, the average exorcism lasts about a year and a half, and that's with an exorcism occurring once a week. So 75 sessions, let's say, is the average length. But some of them can go on far longer than that. But one particular case I took on, my phone would ring through the night. So even if the phone was powered down, powered off, it would power on. It would ring through the night, and it would ring from a phone number that really doesn't exist. Even the area code wouldn't exist. You look up the area code, and there's no such assigned area code. But that only happened, I remember, for about a few weeks, and then that was it. It was only when that case started. I do remember one day, and I've never had a day like this. I had 3 sessions during that day, and I was giving a talk at a parish in the evening. And as I was heading to that, I was driving there, the radio in my car started, and it went to an ungodly volume that was far louder than what the dial would turn it to, and I couldn't shut it off. And there was nothing I could do to this radio to get it to shut off. The windshield then fogged up. Now, this was a warm summer day, so there was no reason for that to occur, but it did. Such that it became, oh my gosh, like I can't see out my window. And so I rolled down my window and I put my head out, and just in time to avoid hitting a guardrail. When I got to that parish, I had a projector. I was utilizing a slideshow that evening. My projector worked for about 30 seconds and then died. So I had a backup. I hooked up the backup. It worked for less time and then died. The parish had one, so they go get it. And again, worked for about 30 seconds and then died. That was, I would say, the worst day. I have had colleagues of mine, priest friends who are exorcists, who have had way more spiritual attack. And some have been physically attacked. I never have. Some have, a good friend of mine was tripped. He had terrible damage done to his Achilles tendon. And then at his next session, when he was well enough to conduct one, the fall happened just after Easter. And the first thing the demon said to him was, "Did you like our Easter present, Father?" I've never had anything like that. I don't want to. Mm-hmm. I have been physically attacked. I've been physically hit. I've been hit really, really hard numerous times.
By people you're praying with, or?
By the possessed.
Yeah.
But I've never been, I've participated in exorcism with a friend, with a priest friend. So we will often, if we can, if there's a particular heavy case, right, I may ask you, me an exorcist may ask you, a fellow exorcist, would you mind coming in that day? Are you able to come? And I've been there where a friend of mine is being picked up by a petite woman and being held, 2 feet into the air, like his feet are dangling. And I grab her arm, and it's like grabbing a cement column. This 105-pound, 110-pound woman is hoisting this very large man. And it's only when I utter a prayer, then,
Wow.
and he had, by that point, was already red. So I never saw him being picked up. So I heard in the room the people kind of gasping, and I was reaching for a relic of a saint to apply. And then I hear the gasping, and I look at them, and then I look at her, and then I see this arm, and then I look at him, and by that time, he was already turning red. I say he had been in the air enough time. There was no breathing going on.
She had him by the throat?
She had him by the throat. So I've never been picked up. I have been hit very hard. I was hit so hard that I needed 2 surgeries to repair my skull.
What happened in that situation? How were you hit? What was the circumstances?
I was hit in the face. I was hit just over here, just beneath the eye, and it broke my skull, and I didn't know that it did.
Wow.
So I was knocked out. I saw stars. It took me a few minutes to recover and figure out where I was, and then I thought, there was the pain wore off after maybe 10 minutes or so, and I thought, okay, well, I'm good to go. And then, subsequently there was just an enormous amount of problems that have an infection and so forth, and so they went in and had to do, particularly of the sinus structure had to be rerouted and so forth.
He hit you with his hand or with something?
With the head.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, do us a favor, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of the video, like, and subscribe.